Welcome to NBA Zone, and in today's video we'll be discussing 10 NBA teammates who hated each other. At number 10 we have LeBron James and Mario Chalmers. LeBron has left somewhat of a bad taste in the mouths of other players due to his massive ego and pride. Many in the Cavs organization are still ticked at him over his leaving to join the Heat, although his finally bringing a title to Cleveland has soothed many of those feelings. But there's someone else who has an issue with LeBron James. Mario Chalmers still has some issues with LeBron from their time together in Miami. James paints it as him taking Chalmers under his wing, but the reality of the situation is actually much different. Apparently, LeBron and Chalmers would argue a lot. At the time, Chalmers felt like he was being held back by LeBron, so he would snap at LeBron about getting the ball more on offense. LeBron would often respond by talking down to Chalmers. This caused a lot of tension between the two. They managed to work together to win 2 titles, but the issues remained, and many claim it was a key factor in James moving back to Cleveland. Whether or not this was the case is unknown, but there was definitely some hard feelings from time to time between the two. At number 9 we have Michael Jordan and Kwame Brown. Over his career, Michael Jordan rubbed a lot of his teammates the wrong way with his ego and pride. That competitive fire is ultimately what led him to being one of the greatest players to ever play the game, and his teammates put up with him because they knew he was the best, and the 6 championships he brought to the Bulls proved it. But Jordan has a broad history of conflicts with his teammate, such as shoving Steph Curry in practice and not being happy about Scottie Pippen rising up with him. The worst case of this had to be when Jordan made his comeback to the Washington Wizards. Kwame Brown was the number 1 draft pick, a man seemingly ready to rise up, but Jordan went out of his way to cut the kid down every chance he got, running him down constantly and slamming his efforts. It's believed that Michael Jordan is single-handedly the reason that Kwame Brown did not live up to his potential, leading Kwame to having a very rough NBA career. Jordan may be a legend, but he may have prevented a legend in this case. At number 8 we have Charles Barkley and Scottie Pippen. This should be no surprise as Barkley had a big ego even before entering the NBA, and it only got bigger as his career went on. Pippen was typically a humble guy, but he had just come off winning 6 championships with the Chicago Bulls, so his ego was riding high. Barkley had to give up part of his own salary to make room for the Rockets to sign Pippen. From the start, it was clear Pippen expected to be the leader of the team, and this caused problems with Barkley right away. Pippen and Barkley would clash in team meetings and in the locker room. Pippen getting arrested for a DUI didn't help matters either. It hurt the team's entire image. Their lack of chemistry hurt the team. What should have been a championship contender turned into a cesspool of toxicity. Pippen demanded a trade at the end of the season, wanting to rejoin Phil Jackson with the Lakers, and Barkley wanted him gone after just 1 year. Pippen ended up with Portland, and to this day, he and Barkley still clash over TV and social media, showing that the bad blood still exists. At number 7 we have Kevin Garnett and Wally Szczerbiak. Over his career, Kevin Garnett carried an attitude that would lead to a lot of conflicts with his peers. Wally Szczerbiak is no exception, as he and Kevin Garnett clashed numerous times when both played for the Timberwolves. Yes, KG's fire and passion is what mostly made him successful, but it often led to teammates being rubbed the wrong way. That situation would arise with Szczerbiak, as he would argue with KG about playing time, and KG would lash back. This eventually led to things escalating, and during one Timberwolves practice, KG and Szczerbiak would end up getting in a full-on fistfight. This would cause Szczerbiak to leave the Timberwolves and join the Boston Celtics. So when KG was brought up in trade talks that would send him to the Celtics in 2007, he would reject the rumors as he did not want to reunite with Szczerbiak. The beef would continue over the years, and even when Garnett helped the Celtics win the championship in 2008, Szczerbiak would slam him on not being a clutch player. At number 6 we have Kyrie Irving and Dion Waiters. During their time together, Kyrie Irving and Dion Waiters would claim that they were the NBA's best backcourt. But despite those claims, Irving and Waiters weren't exactly the best of friends. Irving had been the number 1 pick for the Cavs and expected to lead them into a championship era. However, Waiters thought he was the better player, and their conflicts soon became obvious in their play. Waiters accused Irving of playing buddy ball with Tristan Thompson, even calling him out on it in the locker room meeting. The conflict would only build more and more, and eventually the Cavs locker room would become too toxic. The coaches would do their best to try and resolve the issues, and the Cavs hoped that the reacquisition of LeBron James would help soothe the tensions. But in the end, the rivalry between the two couldn't be settled, and Waiters would be shipped to OKC, where he would miss out on a Cavs title. At number 5 we have Jim Jackson and Jason Kidd. Toni Braxton is known for many things, such as being a Grammy award-winning singer and known for her fantastic beauty. She also appeared to be the reason for locker room tension with the Dallas Mavericks between Jason Kidd and Jim Jackson. The two men had been seen as the main pieces of the core that was going to push the Mavericks to being a powerhouse in the mid-90s. But in 1996, Kidd was forced to call off a date with Braxton for other reasons. Annoyed, Braxton ended up going out with Jackson. Kidd didn't take it very well, and their beef would lead to Jackson being traded to the Nets months later and the Mavericks falling apart. Both men have downplayed the incident and even denied it ever happening, but it still remains a key story. Others cite it as just an excuse for the clashes between the men, as their egos ruined the team chemistry. But beauty may have been the reason for the events that transpired. At number 4, we have Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenton. Arenas was always known as Agent Zero for his clutch shooting, but also some ego that caused a lot of conflicts. This was certainly the case with Gilbert Arenas and teammate Javaris Crittenton. He and Crittenton clashed several times with arguments on playing time and who should lead the team. The big beef was on gambling debt that Arenas owed Crittenton that Gilbert refused to pay. It got to the point where in December of 2009, Arenas showed up with some guns to the locker room and urged Crittenton to pick one. Javaris responded by pointing a gun of his own right at Arenas. Both men would be suspended for the rest of the season, and the reports of the incident made them generally unwanted to teams around the league. So neither was ever the same. At number 3, we have Tony Parker and Brent Barry. I think it's fair to say that it's probably common sense to not sleep with your teammate's wife. This was unfortunately the circumstances for Tony Parker and Brent Barry. The two men were key to the San Antonio Spurs' dominance in the 2000s, winning titles in 2005 and 2007, and would get along great. Tony and Brent were good friends on and off the court, but things seemed to get tense between them in 2008, with buzz on something personal coming between them. It seemed quieter when Barry left, but there was clearly some bad blood between them. The reasons why were made clear in 2010 when it came out that Parker had been cheating on his wife, Eva Longoria, with Barry's own wife. Text surfaced with the speculation the affair had been going on since their playing days. Needless to say, the two aren't friends anymore, and I can't see them ever reuniting. At number 2, we have Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. You think that the two best players on a dynasty would get along, right? You'd be very wrong. Despite what the media was saying, Shaq and Kobe never had really gotten along. Shaq expected to be the overwhelming star of the team due to him already having established himself in the league. But the young gun Kobe Bryant's cocky attitude wouldn't allow that to be the case. Kobe was a kid getting a rush to the big time and was determined to rise up on his own. It got worse as Kobe became more popular, with Shaq complaining about his jersey selling less than his teammates. Phil Jackson managed to get them to shove those egos aside to win 3 championships and put the face of being great teammates. But behind the scenes, the tension was rising further and further over each wanting to be held up as the star of the team. When Shaq was injured and Kobe was arrested in 2003, it finally came loose and it was clear neither man could work with the other. Shaq was sent to Miami where he would lead the Heat to a title, while Kobe bounced back to win 2 more titles himself. At number 1, we have Magic Johnson and Maurice Lucas. The 1980s Los Angeles Lakers were the dominant force in the NBA thanks to Magic Johnson, Pat Riley, and Jerry West managing a fantastic team. But, thinking the Lakers needed backup in rebounding, West traded 2 draft picks to the Suns for Maurice Lucas, nicknamed the Enforcer for his hard play. But, an enforcer is not exactly what LA got, as Lucas's attitude would drive teammates against him. His mouth and demand for more attention wore all his teammates down, especially Johnson. One instance of this came when Lucas was stuck in coach for a flight. So he threw a tantrum to Pat Riley. He and Magic clashed constantly, with Johnson openly telling Lucas to shut up in team meetings, but Lucas kept challenging him. His play was rough too with Magic, coming right off the court, going to Riley and growling, "Get him out of the game, I can't play with this MF anymore." The Lakers lost the Western Conference Finals, and Lucas was immediately shipped to Seattle, ending one of the biggest blunders of West's career and one of the major teammate rivalries in NBA history. So that's it for today's video. What do you guys think of these teammate beefs? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, then drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.